Hello, people of YouTube. This is Gray's Guitars. Thank you for watching. My name is Steve Gray. So today we are talking about a potential future guitar. So this guitar is not readily in production yet, but Suicide Silence, if you have never heard of that band, they are a heavy metal band. We'll go ahead and just read the synopsis here from Wikipedia real quick. So Suicide Silence is an American deathcore band from Riverside, California. The band was established in 2002, so they've been around for a while. Has released 7 studio albums, 3 EPs, and 19 music videos. They were awarded the Revolver Golden God Award for Best New Talent in 2009. The group currently consists of guitarist Chris Garza, who is the person we're talking about it, Mike Halem, bassist Dan Kenny, vocalist Hernan Eddie Hermida, and drummer Ernie Inuguez. Probably butchering some of those names. A little bit, I'm aware of the band, but they are a little bit harder, a little bit more down-tuned than I typically listen to. I like a lot of the classic rock, Guns N' Roses, Van Halen, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, a lot of the boomer music, some people would call it. I guess Guns N' Roses and Nirvana would, in Green Day, that'd be considered more probably like Gen X, millennial. I'm just based off of the age of the people in the band. So this is they're saying that this is the first full scale production Fender 7-string guitar. So there was a Fender 7-string, and you can get a Fender to make you a Fender 7-string if you go through the custom shop and pay probably an ungodly amount of money for it. The first one was this crazy looking thing. I think it's got like, this is a 7-string, but it has a tremolo, so it's not a hardtail. So first hardtail Fender 7-string. This thing has like, what, 25 frets? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Oh no, it's a 24 fret. So it is a 24 fret. They made it for like a year, 1987 to 1988, and good luck finding one. I can't find a recent sold price. A couple of people were asking for $25,000 for one of these things, but that is not an actual sold price. So that is not what this guitar sold for. That's what they were asking, and then they just marked it unavailable because I'm assuming nobody was paying $25,000 for one of these things, because it is also a signature guitar. Maestro Alex Gregory, in all honesty, I tried to Google this person. I don't really know much about him. Talked about how he was trying to do more stuff with electric mandolins. He has kind of his own website right here. But I was trying to just find a general Wikipedia page about him, and not a lot of information about him other than semi-influential in the guitar world to a certain extent. I don't see him like being part of a band. I guess he is British by the looks of it. I mean, I guess we can just click on this and see what the heck this is. This is more about the invention of that 7-string guitar. But yeah, there's him. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the guitar and the specs and what I think the price point of this thing is going to be. So Chris Garza shows off the history, making an extended range Strat. Says there may be more to come. So Fender looks set to enter new territory after a prototype 7-string Stratocaster has been in the field amid talks of a bigger version for the guitar. Through the success of Gent, it's not the Gent, even though it's fun to say Gent to make fun of it. In progressive metal, the demand for extended range guitars has skyrocketed over the past 2 decades. Metal guitars, Luthers like Ibanez and Jackson were quickly to cash in on that demand, and today extended range guitars are commonplace electric guitar store. Despite the surge in popularity, more traditional Luthers like Gibson and Fender have historically stuck to what they're best at rather than experimenting in uncharted territory. Gibson has made a 7-string. I know Epiphone has one, the Matt Heafy from Trivium. Also, kind of hardcore metal type deal. He has a 7-string through Epiphone, but I know Gibson themselves has made an actual 7-string. That is until now. So talking to the latest episode of his podcast, Suicide Silence, guitarist Chris Garza has shown off the first ever 7-string Stratocaster made by Fender. It's a striking axe that aptly has been nearly 7 years in the making. So honestly, if they've released this thing 7 years ago, when they should have, yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. I'll get to that in a minute. This is the first ever official Fender, not Squier 7-string. Yes, Squier has made some 7-strings. Hardtail, the first one ever in history, he says. Honestly, it still doesn't seem real. Yeah, in terms of a hardtail, yes. So there was a Fender 7-string before in the past, like 40 years ago. But as of now, there has not been an official Fender hardtail, as it said, probably outside of like Going Custom Shop. It's been trying to manifest it. I've been trying to manifest it, and now a physical, real thing. It even looks better in person than it did in my mind. I really like the purple. I'll be honest with you. As detailed by Garza, the guitar pairs a mahogany body. That's interesting. Maple neck with an ebony fingerboard, sporting 24 jumbo frets. Still can't get him to do stainless steel frets. I can guarantee he asked, and Fender probably said no. Built to a 26.5-inch scale length. Typically, with 7 strings, you usually get 27, but is what it is. The custom shop creation sees bare knuckle aftermath humbuckers sitting beneath its 7 strings, so that is an expensive pair of humbuckers. Just for a reference, we'll go ahead and take a look just real quick to see. No, I don't want to print. I want to search what the heck those are going for. Let's just go straight to the horse's mouth here. Maybe we'll just hit shopping. That might be easier. Okay, so we're gonna say, because I see some used ones here. Somewhere between $300 and $400 for the pickups. Let's go with that. So this makes it quite a rare beast, as typical Fender guitars come with Fender voiced pickups, but of course, exceptions have been made for what is currently a one-off prototype. So its specs are rounded out with a string-through body, hardtail bridge, a single volume knob, and some choice body contouring. So, you didn't even get a tone knob on that thing. So there are no inlays for a clean finish. So the reason Garza was so clear underlining that this is Fender built and not from one of its wallet conscious sister firm Squier, that's because Squier has tried a bit unsuccessfully to bring the 7-string guitars into the Fender family stable before. First came the now gold dust rare Squier Stratocaster V7 in 2000, which was made available with a hardtail and tremolo bridges. The Squier Stage Master 7 also arrived in 2000, rocked a Floyd Road style floating trem, but was discontinued 2 years later. While this new build is a one-off, there's a hint that more chapters in Fender's 7-string story will soon be written. There's a bigger version with this guitar. He continues, I do want this to be a signature model at some point. We'll see what happens. So we'll go ahead and take a look at some of these pictures. Beautiful finish, but this looks like this screams custom shop to me. I'll be honest with you. So this does not look like a regular production model Fender. So this is going to be expensive. 100% expensive. We don't need to go to Instagram. So notably, Fender has been blurring the lines between its roster of brands, which includes Jackson, Charvel, and EVH. Honestly, probably, I feel like I think Jackson does make 7 strings. I feel like they could have thrown this in Jackson or Charvel very easily. I feel like there isn't 100% a reason to make this in Fender's category, being that they do have Jackson and Charvel, and then if you're like, hey, I want a Fender 7-string, they can just be like, oh, we do make that. It's under, we own the brand. It's our brand. We make them still. It's under here. And then go get one. So Fender's new American Ultra 2 line, testament to that, with great emphasis on faster. We don't need to talk about that again. Trends to continue. More 7-string Fenders. Doesn't seem too far of a stretch. So that is an extended range Jackson for Spirit Box Mike Stringer and Perifaces Misa Mansour Prove. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. There's a real resonance for vintage modern builds right now, with both only possible with Fender and Jackson collaborating. Fender could be sitting on vertible gold mine. Why do we have to put in fancy words for my dum dum? Vertible. Veritable. How do you pronounce this thing? All right. Let's do veritable. Okay, I'm just stupid being in the fact the thing's named and not false. You can tell how well read I am. Thank you, American education system, right there. It will be interesting to see what Fender does regarding the pickups for potential 7-strings, voicing its own pickups, drafting its Jackson designs, or using Seymour Duncans, which are commonly found on Jackson bills. All represent viable options. For now, players can marvel at Garza's one-of-a-kind history maker. Shout out to the Fender Custom Shop. Yeah, there you go. He concludes. He put a lot of time into this. From the first conversation with Fender to getting it in my hands took almost 7 years. It was definitely well worth the wait. Now, this is something where, as I said, Jackson's Charvel, I think they both offer, like 7-string options. And yeah, it's cool. It's a Fender hardtail Stratocaster. But at the same time, being that this is custom shop, how this is set up, uncommon woods. Ebony, Fender doesn't use. Mahogany body, Fender does not use. Bare knuckle pickups, Fender does not use. I can easily see this being a $5,000 guitar plus. In terms of a production model, probably $2,000 to $3,000 if they're trying to keep those specs. So if they're trying to keep the mahogany, the bare knuckle, the ebony, I don't see this thing even if it's made in Mexico, I really don't see this thing being less than a $3,000 guitar. And also, they're not with the times anymore. Let's just be honest, extended range guitars kind of crapped out in 2019. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people aren't using them anymore. I see 6-string baritone guitars still seem to be popular. Like a 6-string guitar with a 27-inch scale length. Sometimes you got fan fret. Even fan fret now seems to be like it's dying off. But I feel like there was about maybe a 20-year-ish time frame, probably like 1999 to 2019, somewhere in that range where everybody was like, oh, let's do a 7-string, now let's do an 8-string, 9-string, 10-string, and then you ended up with Jared Dines and Steve Terryberry, where they had like the Mountain Dew and the Stone guitar, where it was like a 24-string, 25-string, whatever crazy nonsense, and it just, the hype kind of died. And I don't have my 7-string anymore. I didn't really play it much anyway. A lot of the hardcore bands, as I said, they just get either like a baritone guitar and down tune it. Sometimes they have a 7-string, but they've been using the same 7-strings that have been out forever. Schecter, Jackson, Charvel, Ibanez, BC Rich, I think, has some as well. There's Agile is one company. There's just all these other companies that have been making 7-strings forever, and you can still widely get them. And Fender being so late to the party, where if they say, here's a $3,000 7-string, most people are going to be like, no, I'm good. I'll keep the one I have. I'll go one of these other brands that have been out for a while that's significantly cheaper. It's definitely not going to be for everybody, and it's probably going to be more of a collector's piece than an instrument. Because if Fender did this, as I said, 4 or 5 years ago, what was it, 2019? What's that 5 years ago now? Yeah, Fender popped this out 5 years ago at the tail end of it, maybe. But you don't see a lot of artists using extended range guitars anymore, and I think for the price point with these specs, it's just not going to happen. We may see a production model maybe sometime next year, 2025, but the only way I could see it being cheaper is go back to the typical Fender woods, like your swamp ash body, something along those lines, as opposed to mahogany, because Fender doesn't really use mahogany. Get rid of the ebony, get some, probably a maple neck or a rosewood neck. The bare knuckles would have to go as well, because that's a big expense too. Those are 3 things that make up like the entire guitar that you're like, oh, those are cool specs. And Fender would essentially have to take them away, because that is not what they normally use. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I think it's cool that this particular person has them. Do I think they're going to actually make a signature model anywhere near this? No. They're either going to do a custom shop version of this that's stupid expensive that a few people will buy. They'll make 100 of them or something. And maybe if they do make a production model of this, it's going to be extremely stripped down, because, there's not a lot of people that are going to buy these things anymore. Because, as I said, that if you wanted a 7-string, you've had 20 years to get one. And it's like, well, maybe I'll buy an 8-string instead or something, Maybe I'll look at the companies that have been doing the 7 and 8-string guitars forever and know what they're doing, as opposed to Fender, who is just kind of dipping their toes into it at this point in time. Even though they might have been one of the first ones to create a 7-string guitar. But that is what it is. So until next time, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, share, comment down below what you want to see for future guitar and music related content. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe honestly, if they could pop this thing out for like $1,000, you'd sell a bunch of them. But we'll see what happens. We're just gonna have to wait. But until next time, no need to make this longer. It's already 15 minutes. Hit that subscribe button, and as always, have a good one.